I'm David.
I'm Julie.
Thank you for joining us in this review of Carcassonne. And if you haven't had a chance yet, please check out our How to Play and Playthrough, which is a combo video. This is part of our project to do videos on the top 100 family games according to Board Game Geek users. And as of November 2019, Carcassonne is in the top 21 through 40, which you see a sample behind me. Now, there's one thing I need to mention, which I will put as a text note. The version of Carcassonne that we did in the How to Play was a Rio Grande version. And I just looked up because I thought of it while we were playing it. I wonder if Z-Man changed the rules, and they did. There's three things that they changed. They changed thief to highwayman, so that's just a vocabulary change.
Okay.
And that farms are worth 3 points each instead of 4 points each when they're connected to a city. And the other thing that they changed, that little fiddly rule you get when you have a knight. When you put down two halves of a city, that they're worth 2 points each. That would be worth 4.
Oh.
Instead, in the Rio Grande version, it's worth 2.
Oh, nice.
So, for those of you who have the old or acquire the Rio Grande version, used, and you don't have the Z-Man version like us, those are the three changes. And I'll put those text notes in the How to Play over the top in case you're playing the Z-Man version.
Good idea.
All right, so let's do the overview.
Okay, let's go.
Of Carcassonne.
All right. It's a family game for 2 to 5 players, 30 to 45 minutes, ages 8 and up. It's an area majority influence, tile placement, territory, city building, and the game we played is Z-Man Games, Inc.
Right, so what we do is that we come up with our list of 5 positive, negative, and neutral things. And then we don't usually look at our lists beforehand, so sometimes we see it for the first time. And then we will rank the game using the 1 through 10 ranking list on Board Game Geek. So Julie will go first.
Alrighty. I think it's very fun to see the final outcome of the lands you build. Very easy to play with 2 players. There's the right amount of tension. There is some luck involved because you are picking a tile blindly and you're hoping that you're getting what you want. And
Actually, let me mention something about that.
Sure.
Some people actually play a variant where they get 2 tiles. And that way you have a
really?
choice between each turn. And then you kind of like a deck.
Oh, okay.
But that's a home brewed variant.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyways, go ahead.
And finally, it's not a bad thing or a good thing, but for me, scoring, it can be kind of challenging for me. So David helps me a lot with that because I do get a little confused on how things work.
Yeah, especially with farms.
You'll
see that in the playthrough that we manage to tie with 3 farmers right here. I had 1, 2, 3. Julie had 1, 2, 3, and she just picked the right tile.
Very last tile.
To make this farmer tile. Otherwise, I would have had more farmers controlling this pretty much this whole area over hers. So that's part of the luck. And again, if you haven't played Carcassonne before, you're laying down tiles. You either put a farmer down or a knight in the city, and when the city is completed you score it, or you put a monk in a cloister, and when you get 8 tiles around it you score it, or you put a highwayman now, as it's called, instead of a thief on the road, and you score it if the road's complete. You still score cities 1 point each, and independence 1 point each at the end of the game if it's not completed like Julie did here, or if an incomplete road like I had here. And only farms are scored at the end.
See, you can see why scoring's challenging.
All right, so here's mine.
All right. Okay,
so it's elegant design. I mean, there's a reason why this is won so many awards, and that is so many versions that have come out. In fact, we have just about every version of it. Wow. But we have a lack of the expansions for the core set. Eventually, we'll get the newest big box.
Okay.
They keep on coming out with big boxes that include all the expansions.
Yeah.
It is good that we've waited, because if we would have gotten the first big box, we would have gotten the expansions after that.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a game that we just haven't bought many expansions for. We tend to get the alternate versions of it, like Amazonius or the Gold Rush one, or the Hunter and Gatherers. Hunter and Gatherers is on the top 100, I believe.
Oh, good. That's a fun one too.
So it's an outstanding introductory to the hobby gaming. So for those who only are used to playing games that you find in Target, well, now there's hobby games at Target.
Yeah.
But those who only grew up with Monopoly or Sorry or Yahtzee, this is a game they could handle.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at the Z-Man rules. The Z-Man rules are written a lot more clearly than the Rio Grande rules. Yeah, so it's even easier to learn now.
Oh, good.
Not that the Rio Grande rules aren't bad. It's just there's a couple little fiddly parts in it that people won't play right. They can still have a good experience with it.
Sure.
But Z-Man rules are even clearer.
Wow.
So if
That's
this
good.
is a game that you want to introduce to somebody that's tired of playing the same old games from 30, 40 years ago, or like Uno and stuff like that, this is a game they could handle.
Yep.
So it's decent tension and strategy. What I mean by that is that why is it neutral? Because it's a how should I put it? It's a light game. So it's not like this is so mind blowing that like, you know. But now that I think about it, it's a little too long. Mm-hmm. See, this is about as light as a Zool would be.
Yeah.
Okay, but a Zool I can get done in 15 minutes.
Yeah, Zool we can crank through.
This takes more time than I want it to take for it being light. So I actually would, and so that I guess that it kind of relates to the depth and options because it is so light, and there's not many options. I mean, you pretty much place a tile, put your guy, or don't put your guy down.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other versions that we play more than this version has other things you can do, like you're going for gold in the gold game, or you're going, or in
I remember
Amazonas you're
that
moving
game.
your boat.
Yeah, that one I remember a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
or you're trying to get animals and things like
Yeah,
that.
I like that.
So this is you had to have played this game had to have come out first, pretty much, I think, for it to be successful before you did the other games.
I think you're right on that. Yeah.
So it would have been interesting if it would have one came out with the other ones first, would have been as successful because this is so accessible. But because it's longer than it, for me, than it needs to be for a light game, that I won't say, okay, I really want to play this for a half hour for a light game when I'd rather play something that takes 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Or I'd rather play the more in-depth versions of Carcassonne
I agree.
that have just one or two extra rules that make it more in-depth. Okay? It's not like Twilight Struggle, guys, okay? Again, and then the luck of the draw. I'm neutral. I understand it's a tile drafting game, and then you got to deal with what you're drawing. And that's just the way it is. But again, you could do that variant where you start out with two tiles instead, and you play one, and you always have, or maybe even you have three tiles, and you have a little bit more options. You could do that if you wanted to.
I could try that sometime. Maybe it'll go faster that way too.
Maybe. And one thing that we have done to make it quicker is that we only play with half the stack or 2/3 of the stack. We don't even play with the whole tile set. So that's a variant that we've done sometimes to play a quicker version.
Yeah, and I'm okay
So-
with that, especially if I'm tired.
So here's our rating using the Board Game Geek 1 through 10.
Okay, let me see what you. Oh,
So we both said 7. Yeah, we're usually willing to play if
Sure.
if someone really wants to play it, we'd play it. But the reason why it's not an 8, 9, or 10 is because there's other versions of Carcassonne we'd rather play.
True.
And what would you like to add, honey?
Nothing. I think you've pretty much covered it all. I mean, this is a fun game, and I will play it if someone really wants to play it. But I kind of like the Amazons.
The Amazon one is we like the best right now.
I don't win very much in that one, but I love it. I love the animals. I think that's what I like the best.
In fact, we'd rather play the Ark of the Covenant version because we like when the Ark goes through the prophet. I don't know if they're prophets or wise men. I don't remember
that one.
I don't think they're prophets. I think they're wise men.
I don't remember.
Or they're pilgrims. Maybe they're pilgrims. I forget what they're called in that game, but I like the idea when you can try to get the Ark to move.
I don't remember it.
You don't remember that? Okay, well that's a cool variant of it.
I only remember the Amazons because of the animals.
Yeah, the
That's
animals
what I
are cool.
like. Yeah.
Whereas in hunting and gathering, you're hunting them. So
Oh, I don't want to do
in
that.
the Amazon game, you're kind of like,
Saving them?
oh, you could look at it that way, or you're cataloging them. You're not killing them, but you're cataloging them.
Yes, I don't want to be
maybe. I
killing
don't know.
animals.
I don't
No.
know if you're hunting them or not.
No,
They
I
don't
don't want
actually
that.
say. But again, a solid game is a reason why
Mm-hmm.
this is in most people's collections. Some people would say, oh, it's a tired game. It's just like Catan now. People have played it so many times, but there's a whole new generation who's never played this, that it's better than the typical game where it's so luck-based.
Yeah.
There is more strategy to this than playing Sorry. Sorry, there's
True.
very little strategy.
We played that,
compared to I know.
I think I ended up winning that.
Yeah, we played the Pokemon Sorry.
Played the
one.
Pokemon, sorry.
But something. But one thing, we haven't played with the expansions, so maybe we'd play this more often if we'd play with the expansion.
yeah, we need to try it maybe. Maybe if we get 100 likes, we'll do that for you guys.
So if we get enough likes, we'll play this again with the expansion. In fact, we can
Definitely.
get the big box and go through the big box if
Oh,
we
that
get
would be
enough likes.
fun, yeah.